I'm Ronnie. All the good names are taken. Podcast. He's Boz. 31 days. Day 18, Boz. Zombie Wednesday. Night of the Living Dead, 1990. And before you say anything, I remember we had a conversation a few days ago, and we both said the same thing. I remember this movie being really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to ask you right now, before we hit whatever we want to talk about on this movie, did it live up to being really good watching it again?
Yeah, no, it was really good.
Oh,
really
so
good.
you ended up enjoying it. See, I went the other way.
The whole time. I was never bored. Wow, you didn't like it.
Well,
Or
no,
you didn't like it as much as you remember.
Yeah, that's it. It's not that I didn't like it. I like this movie. I didn't like it as much as I remember liking. I remember loving this movie. And to the point where I didn't take a lot of notes. The first thing I noticed was this movie's got a great intro, creepy music leading into a full moon in the night sky before it gets into almost like a scene by scene remake. I don't know how familiar you are with the original, but it's close to being a scene by scene remake. I did notice after the opening, it made me think of a CBS or an NBC or an ABC made for TV movie. It had that look about it.
Okay. I could see that. Like in now times, though. Like, 33 years ago.
33 years ago, I guess it looked just like any other movie from 1990.
Right.
But me watching it on the quality that I watched it on YouTube, I'm thinking, well, this looks like shit. It looks like a made for TV movie. And anybody that grew up during the made for TV movie era knows that those movies look nothing cinematography wise like actual movies that went to the movie theater, or at least I didn't think they did.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Did you watch it on a YouTube channel, like at 9-minute increments?
I did. I found that one and went all the way through it. And I mean, and that's the good thing about 31 days is you can go out and find these movies for free.
I looked for it everywhere, on Netflix, on Hulu, HBO. Every one of them had the 68 version. None of them had the 90, or I think it was 68, 60 something. None of them had the 90 version.
I do think this is like a lost movie, like a forgotten movie that it's really not that bad. I mean, I think this is one of those rare movies that is actually better than the original, but at the same time, it's not as iconic as the original because the original brought it in, and here we are 100 years later, and people are still talking about how great the original is. But I actually think Tom Savin made a better movie. I think his movie fits in with Dawn of the Dead from the 70s and Day of the Dead from the 80s. I think you could put this movie in front of those two and you should be okay. Because the movie didn't date itself. You don't know what year it's set in. Yeah. And at the end, you still don't know what it means. Old cars, old houses, nothing but pastures and woods. So there's nothing there to date it, which I think is really good. But I mean, we'll get into that later. Hit me with whatever you want to talk about this movie. What stuck out at you?
First off, just background. I had seen this movie several times in the 90s when I was like, in high school and stuff, middle school, high school, a lot of times. So this is the first time I've watched it in like at least 15 years. And I think it held up really well. It was I was never bored. And going back to what you said about it's kind of timeless as far as they never say the year. When me and you spoke about this movie last week, I thought the movie was made in like the late 70s. Like it just had that look. It goes back to the look of it too. It had that look of it. And when you told me it was in the it's like 1990, I was like, wow. To me, it looked good for that time. As far as it's not a huge budget movie. It's not freaking Star Wars or something like that. But for the genre and the time, I thought it looked fine, and it still, to me, held up really well.
Like I said, I think Savin did a really good job of making it feel like a Romero zombie movie. And the characters, I think the only thing different between this and the original is you got a lot more F words. I mean, Tony Todd plays a good hero, if you will. The Barbara chick is way more useful. I love that what they did with the character of Barbara. In the original, she's pretty much worthless, while Ben is the one that's doing everything. In this movie, they establish Barbara early on as a meek, quiet, possibly scared of everything woman with her brother making fun of her. And then by the end, she's went full Ripley from Alien. She's got the best ideas. She knows how to take them down. She multiple times throughout this movie tells Ben, we can get out of here.
Yeah,
We can
just take a run for it.
Yeah, we can walk right by them. We don't have to run. We can walk right by them, and they probably won't even come after us. And Ben, the whole time, is like, no, we got to stay here. We got to board up the house. We'll never make it. I thought that was clever, because usually it's the woman saying, let's just stay here where it's safe. In this movie, you've got Tony Todd saying, hey, let's just stay here where it's safe. We don't really know what's going on out there. The first thing I want to talk about is, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say he had no idea how many of those zombies were out there. Like, if you kind of had a general idea, you wouldn't stay in that house. I wouldn't stay in that house. You think maybe, what are there going to be, like 15 of them? Okay, we can do that. But there's like 100 of them at least. And so, yeah, I mean, in hindsight, they should have just taken a run for it. Or a slow jog, a brisk walk by these guys.
See,
smacking them in the head when they walk by.
With the slow moving zombies like this is your ideal scenario, because you're a trained runner. You could run all the way around these guys. We could send you right into town, and you could send back help or get a car or something like that. It's amazing that in these movies, all of these characters are like me. Their car just broke down or ran out of gas. I'm going to be on E whenever the apocalypse hits, and I'll be the one flying up into somebody's yard trying to get to safety whenever it happens. The beginning of the movie, to me, gave us the best kill. Barbara and her brother at the graveyard. He's Bill Moseley's in this movie. Everybody that loves horror knows who Bill Moseley is. He's doing his best impression of the brother from the original. And I love the little curveball that they throw at us. In the original Night of the Living Dead, the person you see come stumbling up is the zombie. In this one, it's just an old man, that has
bumped his head.
Yeah, and he's like, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And he keeps walking off, and I'm left to wonder, what the hell happened to this guy? Did he get bit? Did he get beat up by one of these zombies? What's going on? So I thought that was clever. Then out of nowhere, you get the zombie. I don't know if it's good makeup or not, but the zombie attacks him. Every time he tries to get an advantage, Barbara does something to screw him up. Like, she pokes the zombie with the flower, and it gets him, and he has to let go.
Yeah, right in his hand. Oh, yeah.
And then she's really the reason her brother got killed, because then they wrestle each other, and he falls and has the most gruesome death as his head hits the side of
it's brutal
headstone. It's so gross. And then she runs off, and it picks up there. Right away, they give us the best kill. There's not a kill that's even close throughout the rest of the movie, but I really enjoyed the reimagining of the very beginning of this movie in the graveyard, and how they were able to stay true to the original, but throw in a surprise like they did.
What about the zombie walking up from the hill, the bottom of the hill, and he's like stepping on his suit, and it's ripping off of him? So it's just you just see zombie butt.
Yeah. He was buried.
And the whole time he's walking, it's slowly just falling off. His clothes are just slowly falling off.
Yeah, he goes completely naked. Apparently, when you're buried, they cut the back of your clothes open.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Well, they can't put your clothes on you because you're stiff. So they just put the front of your clothes on.
I never even thought about that. No, that's absolutely right. But I guess I just never thought about that.
A lot of slow-moving zombies in this movie. A lot of redneck country-looking zombies.
Yeah.
I'm assuming this movie was supposed to take place in the
West Virginia.
Oh, it was filmed in West Virginia?
No, that's a complete guess based on the hooligans at the end of the movie. Or Tennessee.
The This is definitely not Tennessee. The Romero movies, the early ones, are set in Pennsylvania near
Okay.
Pittsburgh. So I'm assuming this is supposed to be the same way. But I'm like you. If you told me it was filmed in West Virginia, I would definitely believe it. And they always make these people out to be rednecks. I don't know. So Barbara gets to this house, just like in the original.
She's in shock.
Yeah, she's in shock. That's what I was looking for. Ben comes flying up 100 miles an hour, running over zombies in the road. And he gets there, and we're introduced to Tony Todd, who immediately is like trying to shock her back into existence. Are you okay? Where have you been? Blah, blah, blah. Is this your house? And they start to board up the house. And then all of a sudden people come out of the basement, which is hilarious.
A whole what is it? Brother, sister. No, it's not. Is that his?
That's his girlfriend. Tom and his girlfriend.
His girlfriend. Okay, and then a family.
Yeah, Cooper and his family. His daughter's been bitten by a zombie. He's the grade he's the grade A asshole in this movie.
He is.
Yeah, I mean, very, very unlikable human being from the very beginning. But he's not totally wrong in what he's saying. He's saying, let's ride it out here in the basement, wait for help. And Tony Todd, Ben's like, I'm not going down there. It's cellar. He said, enough of these guys that can bash in that door. And then what we're going to do. So both of them had logical ideas. But this is where the movie, for me, as somebody that's watched a bunch of zombie movies, they are responsible for every bad thing that happens to them. They spend the entirety of the movie trying to board up the house. And Boz, you know, like me, what attracts zombies? Noise. Exactly. So they are the reason boarding up this house that they have so many zombies there at the end, because the zombies are coming towards the noise. If they would have just got somewhere and got steel, I think it would have been a lot better. If they would have went into that cellar, like Cooper said, and just locked the doors, there's nothing to bring those zombies up. But then we got to go through the whole process of what's causing this, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I look at these characters, and a lot of the mistakes were just, they did it to themselves.
Well, going into the basement, though, it does make sense, especially if you are quiet. But at the same time, if you're in that basement and something does happen, man, there's nowhere to go. That's it. I mean, you're just in there.
Yeah,
and you're not gonna fight out 50 of these things as they're standing like at the doorway of this basement.
No, and if random hillbillies come by and you got a house full of zombies, they're just gonna burn the house
down. It, and then you're just gonna burn to death in there.
Yeah. So I can see where Ben was talking, but I mean, like I said, you've got Barbara sitting there the whole time saying, "Hey, we can get out of here. We can get out of here." And Ben's always got a reason why he can't get out of there.
Yeah,
we can take them all, and we'll get down the road. No, he's got a daughter that's sick. But like I said, Cooper, grade A butthole in this movie, probably an abusive husband to his wife. Somehow their daughter got bit. She's on the verge of turning. Tom, let's talk about Tom for a second. That's his uncle's house. He doesn't seem, I'm trying to think of the proper word. He doesn't seem to have all of his mental facilities, Boz.
He's not all there. Yeah.
Yeah, he seems
the smartest cookie.
He seems like the definition of a slow country person.
He didn't graduate high school. There's no way.
No, because I don't think
his uncle did either.
I would think in high school they would have taught him that if you fire off a shotgun at a gas pump.
Yeah, wow. What is that guy doing? I forgot about that part in the movie. Like I, all the times I saw it in the past, completely forgot about that part.
That's the one thing I remember. That was the one thing I remembered is somebody gets blowed up. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, so it was just a bad accident. Tom tries to shoot the lock off and accidentally shoots the pump. No, this dude just shoots the pump. He don't like put the rifle next to the lock or anything to try to shoot away. He shoots at the pump. Gas goes everywhere. Ben's torch was in the back of the truck. It blows him and his girlfriend to hell. And then that's really the last gigantic thing of this movie. You've got the battle throughout the movie between Cooper and between Ben. All the while, Barbara's just sitting there. And then Barbara's got the lines of the movie when she goes, when y'all stop screaming at each other, then possibly we can get something done around here. But y'all are screaming at each other like freaking children.
Yeah.
And I love what Savini did by having her be the voice of reason in this movie. Because I mean, I could sit here and argue that how did she go from meek Barbara to Ripley Barbara by the end of it? But you never know what people are going to do when they're put into certain situations. And the inner alpha in her came out, and that's the reason she was the only one that survived. I mean, Ben, for as much as people love Tony Todd, we've already talked about it during this review. He had all bad ideas. All bad ideas.
He did.
The noise from boarding up the house brought the zombies in. Going to try to get the gas pump got Tom and his girlfriend killed. Him wanting to wait around there just kept him there longer and longer so more zombies could surround the house. And there he's fighting off the zombies outside. And he's like punching them. And this is way past the point where he knows only strikes to the head will kill him. So I didn't understand that at all either.
Well, I got a question. Okay, he goes into the basement, and he's pretty much he's kind of given up, right? And he's down there, and he's looking for stuff. Finds the gas key, which is, I mean, that's pretty sickening, really. Knowing that if Cooper would have just freaking looked around for half a minute, he probably would have. And it says gas key or gas or something on the key.
Gas pump is what it says on the key.
Gas pump.
The only thing I noticed was it was one of those round things like it used to have on the tapes that you rented at the video store that had gas pump written on it. I'm sorry, I had to bring it in.
No. But my question is, okay, he's in there, and that's the last we see of him until the next morning. How does he get bit?
He didn't get bit.
Well, how is he a zombie?
At the end of the movie, with Ben outside, Cooper wrestles the rifle away from Barbara. And then the zombies are coming in. When Ben finally gets in, they're trying to get a pistol off of one of the zombie cops. Cooper's daughter comes out after, Cooper's daughter finally, becomes a zombie in the cellar and kills her mom.
He dies because he got shot?
Yes, he dies because
okay.
So, he fired off a couple of rounds at Cooper, who was upstairs. Cooper fired off a shot to his chest, and he bled to death overnight. That's the reason he's dead.
Okay.
So
I was wondering, how the door was closed, and then, if he, for some reason, I was like, I thought maybe they all got in the basement at some point, and then where are all the other zombies? He was the only one that was at the door when they opened it. Anyway, okay, that makes all the sense in the world. But we got to talk about Barbara getting her revenge. I mean, it's not like Cooper did anything directly to her, but Cooper is there completely alive and fine. He's like, "Oh, y'all came back. I came back." And she just shoots him right in the head.
Absolutely. I loved it.
And she's like, I got another one.
Yeah.
Got another one.
When she escapes, she says she'll come back for Ben. Ben goes downstairs and he has to kill Cooper's wife, who's been bitten by a zombie. Like Boz says, he's sitting there smoking a cigarette. And one thing I haven't talked about this movie, and anybody that's listened to any of our zombie movie reviews, I always talk about how the most fascinating thing to me is when they turn the TV on and you get to see the TV news perspective of what's happening out there. We get two occasions. One, they turn the TV on in the middle of trying to board up the house, and there's a local news guy that's just laughing at the reports that he's getting that the bodies of the dead are coming back to life. Theories suggest voodoo, blah, blah, blah. But the CDC out of Atlanta is saying it's a germ. Cooper tries to take the TV downstairs, and him and Ben start wrestling around, and the TV gets smashed. Later on, after he kills Coop's wife, he's downstairs in the cellar, and he's smoking a cigarette, and he turns a radio on, and the radio is talking about everything that's going on. And he's just sitting there laughing about it before he finally sees the gas pump key. But Barbara Barbara, that's like the worst feeling in the world.
It's gotta be, man.
All you had to do was walk downstairs.
It was there, just hanging there.
Yeah, with everything else is hanging up. I mean,
they could have been done in right when the family comes up from the basement. They could have went down there, searched around a little bit, found it, and left. This movie would have been 45 minutes.
That's all it needed to be. If this movie was shortened down to an hour, it would be an even better movie because there was a lot of filler in there, I thought, personally.
Well, I like I said, I thought it was very entertaining. I never lost interest. There was a point when they're boarding up the house that lasted a while.
Yes.
It was like boarding up, arguing, boarding up, fighting back and forth, boarding up. It was like they could have condensed that down. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Boarding up, argue, zombie bust through their shitty nailing job.
Yeah.
Boarding up, zombie bust through the terrible nailing job. And Barbara leaves and does just what she said she could do. She walks around the zombies, not even having to kill hardly any of them. And she finds a truck and runs into the local scum that are out there already patrolling, killing zombies left and right. Now, this is where the movie goes off the rails a little bit. She wakes up the next morning in a Jeep and she's on some compound where bikers and rednecks are already, they've set up a ring to shoot zombies. I mean, this literally, this national emergency hasn't been going on but 12 hours. You wouldn't have time to set up this post-apocalyptic zombie world where they have them run up by their neck and shooting them.
It's like a circus out there.
Yeah, it's like
entertainment. Yeah.
All it's missing is selling corn dogs.
It looks like tailgating at Talladega.
They go back to the house and they're cleaning up all the zombies around the White House. And she goes in, and that's when they find Ben, and she shoots Cooper whenever she sees it, which is a nod to the original where Ben is the last one alive and he gets shot because people way off think that's a zombie in the house. So he is shot accidentally and thrown onto the pile to be burned. And at the end of this one, she automatically, she on purpose shoots Cooper because he deserves to die. I mean, he was a horrible human being.
Yeah.
He was like, he was more worried about himself than he was his daughter or his wife. He was nothing but in the way the entire time. He was the worst human being in this movie. And whoever wrote that character and the actor that plays the character did a great job.
Great job. Yeah.
Of being unlikable.
Anytime you can really hate a character, they've done a great job.
So what else you want to talk about? Because I'm out of topics.
I want to say that I really want to watch the 68 version because I've never watched it. And now I know, because I did a little research, that, like you said, this is almost like a direct copy of it. But because I enjoy this so much, I do want to see that version. And I didn't even know until last week, me and you were talking about this movie, I didn't even know this was like a remake. Like, I thought this was just the movie. So I guess, I mean, as far as other topics of this movie, I don't really have anything. I thought the acting was really good. Like I said, I thought it looked good. The music, you could tell the quality of this was higher than the last two pieces of garbage we reviewed. I mean, it's not even close.
Look, dude, I could argue that the cinematography in the Video Dead is better than the cinematography of Night of the Living Dead 1990. I'm probably wrong, but the movie looked a lot crisper. I thought, if that's a word when describing movies.
Clearer?
Yeah, there you go. I
don't know.
Quality. We watched a 4K version of Video Dead. Rate it, Boz. What are you rating Night of the Living Dead 1990?
I'm going to go with 8.
Wow.
8 out of 10.
Out of 10.
This is my second favorite. Yeah, it's my second favorite zombie movie. Dawn of the Dead 2004 is my favorite. This is my second favorite.
No, I'm going 5.7.
5.7. That's good. That is not. Look, I guess that's average, maybe slightly above average. 5.7. That's not, dude. Oscar worthy after the past two we've done is what that is.
The acting was good in this movie, except for Tom. But I said, where do I know Tom from? I know Tom from somewhere. He acts like Simple Jack in this movie. I went back and looked, and Tom was the guy. When me and Blake and our sister, we didn't have cable, we recorded movies. And I had recorded Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, Leatherface. And in that movie, a boy and a girl get captured, or I could say two teens or two 20-somethings get captured by the Sawyer family. And they've got her, of course, tied up at the table. And he is hung up by his feet in some apparatus that they skin deer with. Anyway, they hit a button and it slices his guts open, and he's dead as they start to skin him. And that was Tom. And then I was like, no, I don't remember him from this movie. It had to be something else. So I'm going back through his IMDb, and I see that he was the guy from Friday the 13th, part 7, I believe, that gets killed out in the woods. He's the one that's trying to make it to that camp, to make it to the camp, him and his girlfriend, and they're going to throw a birthday party for him. His girlfriend spoils it and goes, they're all at the cabin waiting for us for a birthday party. And Jason shows up and kills both of them. And all throughout the movie, it's like a flat, she's seeing visions of him getting like blood popping out of his mouth. So that's where I knew Tom from. It was Friday the 13th, part 7. I should have known that.
So this man's 3 for 3 in dying in movies.
Yeah, he always dies. I mean, this was his stupidest death. I think this might have been the biggest collection of dumbasses they've ever put in one house for a zombie movie. Because
yeah, these aren't smart people.
No, and
shout out West Virginia.
Everybody likes to throw love at Tony Todd. I think he was good in this movie, but his character of Ben served zero purpose as far as trying to solve the problem they were in. He brought the noise, he brought the funk, he brought the zombies back to the house. So 5.7 for me for this movie. Day 18, Boz, we're on the back end slide or the downhill slide or whatever we want to call it of October. Make sure you go out. Make sure you check the 17 movies we reviewed prior to today, guys. We've had guests. We've had show members. It's just been me and Blake a couple of times. Check out the movies. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed because we got 13 more reviews left. Leave a comment down below. What is your favorite parts of Night of the Living Dead 1990? Did we get something wrong that you don't agree with? Tell us down below. Support the show on Patreon, YouTube memberships, or don't. It doesn't matter. We just like interaction with you guys. Boz, thank you for being here again. Anything before we go?
No, just hit the like button. And 1 through 10, rate the movie down below because I want to see that. I want to see what people think. Don't just rate it and give a quick 1 or 2 lines about what you liked or didn't like.
Go Pack, go.
Go Pack, go.